everyone, I'm Katie from Excellence Wellness Solutions, and I'm back with the final video in our 5K fitness series for this year. So we've worked our way all the way up the legs. We're going to finish out with the core and back. Two really important areas. Really, if you think about it, one area, because I always like to talk about core as being pretty much everything from the ribs down through your knees, so it encompasses all kinds of stabilizing muscles, and they're really important when we're running, so that way we're not putting too much pressure on the low back, we're keeping good form, good stable position, and we're also not getting that those hunchy shoulders, which you sometimes see when people only engage in one activity and don't do their strength training. So once again, we're going to do just a little bit of quick foam rolling. So we'll need your foam roller, and also going to show you, it's a little more hips, but it is kind of tied into the core, how to get into your psoas muscles. So if you have more of a ball kind of like this, you can use a tennis ball, anything that is a little bit smaller than your foam roller to get into some of these muscles can really help with your running as well and help with that low back pain. And then we'll go through some good core exercises, some of my favorite ones to develop core stability. So we're going to start with this roller here and really get into the iliopsoas. There's a number of muscles kind of on the inside of that hip. They attach down into our legs, so they're constantly active when we're going through our strides. They're also really tight if you're in that flexed seated position all day. So this is one I do pretty much every day myself because I have a tendency to lose kind of length in through the front of my hips here. So with this one, you're going to come down to the floor, and again, we're finding just on the inside of that hip bone here. You may have to kind of roll around and see what works for you, but we're going to come down and put just some nice pressure into that ball. So just like with our other rolling, you can kind of come up and down, maybe even a little side to side, and then really try to breathe into the spots that get you. So I imagine if you've never done this before, and you are an avid runner, or you sit at a desk all day, you're probably going to feel some spots here. And again, just kind of staying on the inside of that hip. We want to stay in that soft tissue, not on the bone. Take some time, 30 seconds to a minute on the one side, and then make sure you're also getting the other side as well. So great one to add in, especially if you've never done it before and you've been doing some of the other foam rolling. I guarantee you it will help make those hips feel just a little bit looser. Now from the foam rolling side, if you tend to have some tightness in that low back, we can actually roll down all along the muscles on the side of our spine here. Now you sometimes see people kind of going all along the roller here, and that's okay. But again, we don't really need to roll the spine itself. We want to kind of roll into the muscles. So I like to take it a little to the side. And then you can really get into some of these muscles, the quadratus lumborum, and all these stabilizing muscles along the side. Another one that people kind of forget about is getting into your lats. So your latissimus dorsi, the big muscles on that back there, they're really important for posture and good form while we're running as well. So take some time. Again, if you don't normally do this one, we want to get underneath that armpit onto that backside. It's not a huge range of motion on this one, but just gently rolling into those muscles there, finding any of those tight spots, breathing into them. Another great one to add to your routine. So we'll stick with those for our little foam rolling basics today. Now we'll kind of go into some of our core stabilizers. So again, core really is so important in holding our good position, holding our posture. So one of the moves I start a lot of my core classes with, or talk about a lot with people, is a pelvic tilt. So you're going to lay on your back, feet are flat, knees are bent. This one's very subtle. You may not even be able to see it too much, but from here, when you think about we're in a relaxed position, you may have a little space underneath that low back as you kind of have that natural arch. So when we're doing a pelvic tilt, we're really thinking about scooping that pelvis underneath you, squeezing those abs in, and you're almost flattening out the back a little bit there. And so on the pelvic tilt, I just have people work through 5 to 10 reps, nice and easy. Think about taking an extra second or two when you're in that flex position before you release. So it's just a little scoop. So when we think about our pelvis, it almost looks like a shovel. We're kind of scooping that shovel in, almost like you're going to dig some dirt, tucking that belly button in, squeezing that core, and releasing. So this is a great one. Again, if you have any kind of low back pain and know you're a little bit tight in your hips, this is almost like a nice little reset. So it's a good kind of rehabilitative move, but again, it's a great base to work from for any of your core movements, like the one we're going to do next, which is a dead bug. Great stability move. So with a dead bug, think about getting that pelvic tilt, scooping those abs in to start. This one though, we're going to bring up those knees and the feet, keeping them at a 90-degree angle, and we're also going to extend those arms overhead. Now basic, you can keep the head and neck down, or if you've done these before and want to get a little bit extra core, you can roll those shoulders up. But from here, we're just going to work through, extending out the right arm, left leg, coming back to center, and then going to the other side. So as I do this though, the other arm and leg aren't moving. They're staying stable. So again, you can do this with the head and neck down, and we're just going to work through a nice little dead bug here. Again, it's a great one to work on developing that core stability, a little bit of coordination as well. Take your time with it. A lot of times people have trouble with the movement, but work through it, and I guarantee you if you do it frequently, you'll get the feel for it. And again, it's another great one. Do it as a warm-up or add it into your core or any of your strength training routines. Now on the flip side of that, we'll also love a good bird dog, which is a very similar movement. We're just going to do it face down. So same thing, start with that pelvic tilt, squeeze those abs in, engage that transverse abdominis, and from here, we're going to extend out again. It's going to be the opposite arm to leg, come back to center, and nice and easy. So this is one we don't want to do fast. We want to keep it nice and steady. I like to give the cue, think about pretending like you have a glass of water on your back and you don't want to spill it. So that's where we're really going to engage those core muscles, but doing it in the face down position. We get the back as well. So speaking of the back, another good one, again, to reinforce that open chest posture, to keep the shoulders back, the head up. We're going to do a little bit of a variation on a back extension, or really, this one is a prone row. So you can do this up on a stability ball as well, or a Bosu, if you prefer to have that torso kind of in a more upright position. But from here, we're not so worried about the legs here. They're going to stay extended behind us. But we're going to start with the arms out in front, facing down into your floor. And then from here, we're going to lift up ever so slightly, kind of like we're doing a Superman. But from here, we're going to pull those elbows back, squeeze those shoulder blades together, and then release it down. So it's not a huge range of motion. Everybody may be a little different on how much back extension you get, so don't force lifting up, but really think about drawing those elbows back, squeezing those shoulder blades together. So again, it just reinforces that good, strong position in our back that we want when we're out there running or sitting at a desk or anything else. So like with everything else, shoot for 5 to 10 reps, whatever feels comfortable for you, and add it into your weekly routine. Now, of course, we're also big fans of any kind of rowing movement, whether you're doing a bent over row with dumbbells or with bands, a TRX row, pull downs, pull-ups, inverted rows, any kind of pulling movement is going to be great to include in your routine, no matter who you are. Again, if you're sitting at a desk all day, if you're engaged in any kind of physical activity, even if it's not running, you think if you're on a bike, riding all the time, so much of what we do is forward. So anything we can do in that pulling range of motion to reinforce opening up these tight chest muscles, these tight shoulders, and engage those back muscles is going to be key. So top tips for today, rolling into some more of those tight muscles, getting into some good core stability. Planks are awesome too. But yeah, really working that pelvic tilt to reinforce a good hip position, and then focusing on some pulling movements for our back as well. Again, this is just the tip of the iceberg, but hopefully it makes you think about what you're doing in your daily and weekly routine and what you can add to your running to make sure you're getting to the finish line strong, no matter if it's a 5K or a 10K or half marathon or anything else. Thank you so much for joining. Again, I hope you have found these tips helpful, and good luck, whatever race you're doing this season or just running for fun. And I'm sure I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.